All right, you want to kick it off?
No, Joe, it's your meeting.
Oh, no. It's I'm
See how we did that?
supporting cast. I'm the janitor.
It sounds like pass the buck to me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Well, good. I know we got some new names on here. Got a few participants. That's great. And yeah, I guess I can start it off. Evening, everybody. I'm Scott Spear. One of the couple guys who help run this alternatives meeting. We're part of the FFREIA, Freedom First Real Estate Investors Association, the Rochester division. And we talk about, on this meeting, we talk about how to make money in real estate in all ways except for landlording. There's a separate group that does that. It's called the full timers. And they talk about tenants, toilets, rental issues, housing issues, things like that. But we talk about other ways to make money in real estate, whether it be lending, buying tax deeds, doing self-storage, doing wholesaling. That's what we talk about in this meeting. And we're glad you all joined us. Last night, I actually had the pleasure of going to the Arizona REIA. No, I'll take that back. It wasn't last night. It was Tuesday night. I went to that meeting. That's one of the benefits of being a REIA member is when you're traveling around, you can go to different REIAs and attend them typically for free. They'll let you attend 1 or 2 meetings and just check them out and go in and talk with them. But what we're going to do tonight, we go around the room, we let new people introduce themselves. Anybody who's new to this or hasn't been on in a long time, I see a couple names on here. And then let you introduce yourself. Tell us about who you are, where you're at, what you're looking to do in real estate, and what brought you here, what brought you to the FFREIA group. And then we'll go around the room, we'll do have, needs, wants. That's where if you have a property you're looking to buy or looking to sell or looking for a contractor, you bring it up at that point. And then then after that, we just kind of open it up to open discussion, let people ask questions, see where it goes. Let people give some updates. I know Joe Lavabera has some update news that he's going to share with us. So I'll let him do that. And then other than that, we also like to let vendor members introduce themselves. Do we have any vendor members on tonight, Andy, other than yourself?
I don't know. Let me look. I don't think we do. Not who are vendor members. I think it's me, you, Joe. That's about it for vendor members. So
all right. Okay, good. All right. So what we do at this point, everybody, is we let new people introduce themselves. A few of us been on a few of these calls. We all kind of know each other, but looks like we have a couple of new people or people who haven't been on in a little while. And what I'd like for you to do is just state your name, where you're at in real estate, where you'd like to be at in real estate, and what brought you to the meeting tonight, how you found out about us. So if anybody new wants to go ahead. Otherwise, I'll call a couple people out.
I'm not new, but I'm here. I want to do some more real estate. Want to do some more flips. Looking at a couple of bigger deals. Something came to me up in the Old Forge area, an off-market deal, pretty big deal. Waiting to get some numbers on that. That's something of interest that I want to talk about once I can get a little bit more info and network. That's what I want to do. Just make sure, just keep me out there so Joe returns my calls.
You gotta call me.
Just breaking balls.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right. For anybody who doesn't know, that's Anthony.
Not Shannon.
Yeah, there, his name just changed. All right.
I changed it for you, Anthony.
Hey, all right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Anybody else new on here? I see a vendor member coming on and we'll wait for her, but let's go ahead. Any other new members on tonight?
George.
All right, George.
George Saxton. I'm in San Francisco right now, downtown Union Square. We're new to this group. We were introduced to the organization by Leon Griggs and his wife. We recently invested in Rochester in 4 different areas. And we are thinking about moving back there. I was born there a few years ago. before any of you were probably, as I look at your pictures back in the 1940s. And I'm just here to learn.
Awesome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, George. We're glad you're here. All right. Anybody else new?
Yeah, I'm Stephanie. I'm new to the group. I have one single family home here in Rochester. And I'm looking to expand that. I've had it for about 2 years now. I just started out. Looking to kind of expand into not only the Rochester area for single family home, but eventually looking into more of the multi-unit vacation rental eventually. Long term, that's what my goal is. But if anybody needs anything in the Rochester area looking for an electrician, my husband who's here, he just popped in. He's the electrician, so I can offer up his services.
Right. Perfect. And if you can, I think if you could add, Stephanie, if you could add his name and number into the chat box, that'd be good. Because I know everybody's kind of always looking for a good electrician.
You
So,
bet.
be great. All right. And let's see. Anybody else new? I know John Sherry, he hasn't been on in a while. I'm going to call him out. Welcome, John. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, it's been a while. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
Yep.
All right, good.
Somebody's got some background noise.
Yeah, sorry about that. I hate it on mute. I've been working on some offers. Let me mute that.
Deals come first.
Yep, I've been trying to type up an offer for Colleen as I'm sitting here listening to what's going on.
Well, she's on the call too now, so
I see that. I see that.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
see the meeting where deals are done, even if they're happening outside the meeting.
That's right.
Production.
So yeah, Joe, I've been waiting for you to give me a call as well. You're a popular guy. Everybody wants you.
Listen, the phone works both ways. The last time I checked.
I know, right.
Yeah. Joe's too busy writing out checks to everybody. Everybody is bringing
Oh,
him
my
leads and
God.
stuff. You know, he doesn't have
Is that what
time.
it
If you need his number, it's on every sign in town.
I know. I see him all over the place.
I'm a stalker.
All right. Anybody else new? Brian, are you new or have you been on a couple times already?
Oh, they're definitely not new, but they'll
Yeah, a couple
probably
times.
talk.
right.
Hi, guys.
Okay, good. And I think that covers everybody new, unless there's somebody else I don't know about. What I would like to do, since we have our attention right now, Colleen Barachi is one of our vendor members. And she's a great realtor to work with. I've done a lot of business with her over the years. But Colleen, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Colleen Bracci with Remax Realty Group, the CB real estate team. And we do primarily investment properties. If you're buying or selling investment property in Rochester, you've probably talked to me at least once. And we sell things that a lot of people aren't willing to, non-paying tenants, bad condition, all the way up to fantastic tenants in great condition. So we do a little bit of everything. Constantly selling stuff off market as well as on market. A lot of our investors like to try and sell their property without having a horde of people come through. So they know that I've got a lot of investors on my database, and I just take all the information about the property, get pictures and share it out and see if anybody's interested in biting at it. So it's a nice little network we've got going.
Great. Thanks, Colleen. Welcome. And let's see. All right. So at this point, we'll go around the room. We'll do have needs, wants. If you have a property you're looking for, or if you have something you want to sell, you bring it up now. And if you're looking for like maybe a certain contractor or something like that, we don't do question and answers now, but now it's just really kind of have needs, wants. I myself, I'm looking for self-storage anywhere in the country. I am, for those who don't know, my wife and I live in an RV full time. We happen to be in Arizona right now. And we are just looking for self-storage. That's my main focus now. And that's what I'm looking for. So anybody else have needs, wants? Go ahead.
Hey, Scott, ditto. I I'm just gonna say it again and again. Storage all day. Oh, by the way, my name's Gabe. Sorry, guys. And I'm looking for storage anywhere in the United States as well. Anywhere. Because Scott and I are working great together and we got a good thing going, rocking and rolling. And Scott, did you get my text about Eddyville, Kentucky? Real quick?
No, I'll look at it in a minute. I had a couple other texts come in. I thought you were texting me to say, hey, where are you? Not on the meeting yet.
No.
That was me. That was me.
Alrighty. I will look at that in a minute. And I'm going to send you a message too. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah, storage all day, any size, shape, color, anything. I don't care if it's 0% full or 100% full. Internet, not internet. I don't care. I'll take it. I want it. I'll buy it. Period.
What if it's in Chicago and has $300,000 a year in property taxes? How about that one?
No, and no. Zero. No, not even. Maybe California is like maybe a 20% chance, but no. Chicago, forget about it. Scott told me the horror story, so forget it. No, not happening.
There you go. Anybody else looking for anything in particular? If you look in the chat box, she did put in Brock Berry as an electrician. If anybody needs an electrician, that's good.
I know I'm looking for commercial and residential. We'll do singles, doubles, obviously looking for storage also, pretty much anywhere. And I'm constantly getting properties. Some of you, most of you already know that. Never know what I'm going to get. So just call me, text me, whatever, get a hold of me. But yeah, we're definitely buying some. I don't know if I have anything available right now. I gotta look at my board. Actually, I haven't had a chance to look. So for right now, that's what I want.
I'll put myself out there. My wife Lisa and I, obviously looking for any properties to fix and flip, but also if anyone has property looking to rent, let us know. I'll be able to work out a deal. We're doing some Airbnb stuff, so we'd be happy to chat if you have any properties looking to rent out. Let's chat. I'll put my number in the chat box.
Just if anybody has any experience doing the Airbnbs or out of state type of rentals, I'm looking for a little more guidance on that. I'm not really sure where to start. That's kind of my main goal at this point, is to kind of branch out into other states other than New York for Airbnb and rentals. So I'll drop my email and phone number in the chat as well.
Anybody else? Everybody else says what they want.
I want whatever is out there, whatever we got, single family, multifamily, whatever we can do. Flip
Anthony,
hold.
reach out to me, Anthony.
All right.
All right, good. Okay. Now, Joe, do you have anything that you want to add to this? Before going to question and answers. I know we're jumping into it kind of quick. Or anybody have any announcements they want to make? Joe, I know you had a couple things you want to talk about, but does anybody have any announcements they want to make or anything right now?
I don't know if Joe's even on right now or can hear us.
Joe's on, Leon's on.
Talking to Big Joe, the important one.
That's you, Joe.
No. Far from it.
Bank of America Joe, right there.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I mean, it doesn't pertain to this, but I did come across just in the world of notes, an interesting opportunity, all in non-judicial states. That it's very interesting. I'm looking at it, but it's just on lending. It's just on the note side. Nice return, non-judicial, quick foreclosure if you need it, large deals, seasoned, vetted people, multi-million-dollar deals. So, not that I would do all of it, but have a part of it. But if anybody's interested in notes, that's a constant deal flow. But as far as here, no, I think next week is the housing providers meeting with Carl and Beth. And that is, I believe that is at Da Vinci's, is it, Carl? He was here earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a mixed in person and Zoom, I believe.
Right.
Andy, right?
Yes. Yep, that's the plan.
Yep. So that's at Da Vinci's. I was at Da Vinci's this evening, talking to them, and they were looking forward to it.
Cool.
That's it, really.
So we all good with announcements?
Yeah, we really didn't have anything.
All right. Scott, are you all set, or do you want me to go over what we talked about?
Yeah, Joe, go ahead and talk about what you and I were talking about earlier. That'd be great.
Okay. All right. So obviously there's a bunch of real estate agents on there, so they probably know all this. So the other night, actually the other morning, on Channel 13 News, you guys can Google it, just go to wham13.com or whatever the heck it is there. So they were talking about, and we all know the housing market is hot. We all know the shortages. We all know what's going on with it. People are struggling for properties, and you know, it's nuts out there. But luckily, at least within this group, we're so well connected, and it gives us a little bit more of an edge. But what I found fascinating to me was, so they did a couple things there. Number one, they talked about the MLS, and they took the MLS from 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, and I had to double check this. I mean, I had to listen to it twice because I was kind of like, did I hear that right? There was 5,200 houses available on the MLS. Okay. That was 5 years ago. This week, there's 262. A 90% drop. Okay, 90% drop from 5 years ago. And I'm sure the agents on this call can probably attest to that. I mean, we knew there was a shortage. At the same time, I didn't realize it was that much of a shortage in regards to what's out there.
Was that all of Monroe County, or was that just the city?
I think that was all of Monroe County.
That's insanity. Holy cow.
90% less, not 20, 30. I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to have? Well, they said 262, and my eyeballs almost fell out of my head. Okay?
And when you consider only like 40% of deals are being done off market, that is still not a lot of houses. That's crazy.
That is insane.
So deals, Joe.
What?
That's all the deals that you have.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's and I know Colleen and John and and a lot of the other real estate agents on here. I'm sure they can attest to that. Okay. So the other thing that they were doing was, obviously, and we've all seen this. So they were following a couple around, the first time home buyers, and they were going through properties. So they found one that they fell in love with. Oh my God, they had to have it. They went in at $90,000 over asking price. 90, not 90,000. They did not get it. Okay. They went over, it was either $112,000 or $120,000 over asking price. It is like a flipper's paradise right now if you're looking to flip a house right now. So, and by the way, does anybody, if everybody wants to add anything onto this, or, and you know, in regards to, you know, what they're experiencing, please feel free to interject. Okay?
I will
Where was
add,
that house?
oh,
What?
where was the house that they?
It was somewhere in the suburbs. I'm not really too sure. I was so dumbfounded when about the $90,000 over asking.
I heard about that.
I kind of lost track of what they were. I was like in a fog.
I can
It
tell
happened-
you. Oh, sorry.
They
go
had
ahead.
my buddy also out. I got in the like in Williamson. Same thing. He put a bid in like 75 grand over, thinking he'd get it, and he still was outbid. Like it's everywhere. It's crazy. Sorry, Colleen.
No, that's okay. I can tell you as far as the flipper's paradise goes, here's the situation. 5 years ago, if I was showing a house to somebody, they'd say, I don't like the color of paint on those walls. I'm not going to buy the house. Now, because the market is so dry, they are taking things that they ordinarily wouldn't have taken, you know, these buyers who aren't even looking as a flipper, but looking to live in, and they're competing against the flippers because they're willing to do anything to get a house now. So it's tricky for a flipper to find a property that doesn't have competition on it unless you're getting it off market and it's a nice quiet sale.
Yep. You're right on that one, Colleen. And you know, a lot of people, and I've been getting so many calls, and people are, I feel like people are getting mad at me because I can't return so many of them. And I'm sure you've gone through that too, Colleen. And, you know, and a lot of it's being done through networking. As a matter of fact, I went to go look at a house yesterday in the 19th ward, nice lady, and she wanted too much. I knew she'd make more. And because of the group and because of the networking, I gave her Colleen's phone number because I know she'll sell it to her in a heartbeat. So you're gonna get a call from a lady named Legina.
Okay.
Very nice lady. You'll sell her house in a heartbeat.
She'll be happy. I'll make her happy.
I know you will. Believe me, when she talks to you, she's going to be bowing. Because I told her all about you.
Yeah,
I told her how you sold 325 houses last year. And
360, but okay.
360.
69 actually. Yeah, more than one a day last year. We're up to over 60 right now
Really?
for just this year. Yeah, transactions signed off on so far. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, if anybody knows any realtors who are willing to work investment property in the city with a crazy blonde lady, send them my way because we need some more on the team.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, I already lost track of what I was going to say here, but you know, so many people have been going crazy trying to find the properties. And I know a lot of people are getting very, very frustrated, you know, and one of the things that I keep telling people is patience. We ended up getting rid of 2 properties in Greece. Okay. One had a really bad fire. It needed a lot of work. And I was talking to this one guy who'd never done one. And he was almost going to be mad at me because I didn't even want to think about showing him the house. And I knew because he was so desperate for a house. So he just had cash burning in his pocket. And you know, and one of the things is that I've been seeing too many people taking what they can get right now. And I know one guy, I talked to him this morning. He picked up a house. He paid a little bit more than he should have because he wanted this house. He was desperate. He is now in a situation where he has to finish it himself because he's so much money into it. If he's lucky, he's going to break even in this market. Okay. And if he'd just been patient, he wouldn't be in this position. He works and then he goes there and he's miserable and he hates it. And he's probably going to be another, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months out. And this thing should have been done probably two or 3 months ago.
So that brings up a really good point, is what's your labor worth to you? Do you want to be finishing a flip somewhere in downtown Rochester at 10 at night by yourself or with one other person? Or do you want to spend time with your family? And all of your deals should revolve around what's your personal time worth to you and everything you do. Because if you're not getting paid for it, you better walk away.
You are so correct. You got to put that, like, that has to become a banner. Because
That's how I live my life, brother. I walk away from more business because they don't want to pay my bill. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. There are plenty of people out there who will pay me what I'm worth, and I'll catch you later.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody out there, I've some people like, well, maybe I can do some of the work. No, you got to, I tell people, you got to be like me. If you touch a hand tool, you get a rash. You don't want to touch it. Okay. Some of the guys that we deal with, I know that they can handle certain types of properties, and some of them I know can't. And I have had people get mad at me. It is what it is, but I'm not going to put anybody in a really bad position.
Yep.
And I know, like Anthony, you've been out there at Chicago. Are you finishing stuff? Like Anthony, like earlier you said you were looking. I mean, you're looking over there. Are you having issues finding stuff? Or are you just starting to finish yours up and just starting to begin to look?
Well, I mean, the same issue everybody's having is just getting it so the numbers work. If the numbers don't, the one thing I always tell everybody, numbers don't lie. So if the numbers don't work, you can't force it. So yeah. I'm just looking at volume, as many as I can see. Hopefully one of them, the numbers work and we can get it going, because if it's just, one at a time, I've passed on probably 10 properties in the last 10 months or month and a half because it was so inflated.
Oh, he froze. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
There. Oh, I was saying, so I try to get as many looks as I can and many offers as I can, and hopefully one will stick, because you got to put 10 out there to get one, or at this stage 25 out there to get one. So
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, we're finding deals, but we're turning a rock over 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But we're just, you have to go above and beyond to be able to find something. We're just like you, Anthony. I mean, I'll say no a heck of a lot more than I say yes. And we're getting some pretty decent deals. We ended up picking up a 2-family in the North Winton Village area for $115,000.
Wow.
Right on Blossom Road.
To me for how much?
What?
And you're going to sell it to me for how much?
Actually, my partner I work with, he's like, I'm keeping this. Whatever. But the thing is that, we're patient. They're out there, and anybody who knows Blossom Road area, it's worth well over $200,000.
Oh yeah,
all day long. I bet this one's around 220, 230. It needs work, but there's you just have to be patient, and a lot of people aren't. And this one over here was a sad situation. And it took, and it's going to take, for your people skills are really going to be, you're really going to have to develop them, because everybody is just, it's insane right now. In regards to the competition. Thank goodness a lot of the places we've been going to, it's typically one-on-one because we're out there, we're doing the phone calls, the letters, the voice drops, the text messages. We're doing it all. I mean, above and beyond just to be able to get, what we have. But again, when I talk to some people and they're just doing, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of advertising, and then they're almost getting desperate. And man, and that one story about that house, by the way, that I told you about is in Greece, which it will sell, but he's probably there now. I wouldn't doubt if he's there now till probably like 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock. I don't even know, on the flip side of that though, is selling properties right now is just, it's insane right now. We ended up putting a property up over by Rochester General Hospital. We listed it for $114,000. We sold it for $137,000. We did one around the corner from this is off of Portland Avenue. Okay, we did one off of Portland. We sold it for $141,000. I own a house around the corner from the one that sold for $141,000. It appraised for $145,000. I bought the one around the corner about 2.5 years ago for $35,555 with a tenant. Okay, it's crazy from where they were then to where they are now. So and I can't be the only ones going through this. I mean, check out there. I want people to participate there. Who else is going through some of this stuff, or anybody got any properties they're putting up? Talk to us. What's going on? Nobody's got a property they're putting up right now.
Actually, Joe, I was I own a day spa and I was at it the other day, and my nail tech was working on a lady, and she had said that she tried to buy 6 different houses, got outbid, and she was looking for a Victorian. Well, me and Bernie bought that Victorian that he's flipping, but he's working on currently right now. And she said, and the nail tech told her that she knew that we had this Victorian that we're working on to sell, to flip. And she came up to me and she's like, let me know as soon as it's done. And I said, well, what's your price range? Because I know it's going to be up there. And she's like, unlimited. I'm like, okay, I'll see you later. I got her number.
Yeah, that's not, she's not, yeah. That's not one you're going to be able to work with. You want the biggest bang for her buck. I have a guy right now he's out of Buffalo, and he sent over 12 properties in the city, and the guy's asking $1.2 million for 12 properties in the city. 2 of them are on Remington Street. Okay. Oh, and right now, some of you know on Remington, I know right now Colleen's going, yeah, right. Aren't you, Colleen? Oh, I don't know if she's even still on over there.
I'm on. Yeah.
She's too busy laughing.
I think I might know that package. I think I saw it float by me at one point.
Yeah, it floated by me again twice already.
Let it keep floating until it sinks a little bit.
They wanted me to do a 3-way call. And the only question I was going to ask him was he wearing a ski mask and holding a gun to me over the phone? That's the only question I would have asked.
That's a good question. I like that.
Oh yeah, I've never been robbed over the phone before. How am I going to describe you to the police? It looks like my Android phone.
That's insane. That's insane.
I just listed a house on the corner of Conkey and Doorbeth that went live today. I looked at it a little over a month ago, and I told the owner what I thought it was worth. And he said, well, I had another realtor tell me it was worth $20,000 more. I said, well, call his bluff. Let him list it. I got the listing.
That's awesome.
But, by the way, what are houses going for over there right now?
That one is actually not in bad shape. It's got a fully fenced yard. It's got all natural trim and it's got 1.5 baths and a 2-car garage. We've got it listed at 65. Got a tenant in there right now, older lady paying $1,000 a month.
Now, some of the owner occupants over there have gone for higher than that,
Oh yeah.
like 100.
If the
Over.
tenant wasn't in there, we could get a lot more for it, but he doesn't want to remove the tenant. She's an older lady. She's been there almost 2 years now. It's her home. So he's hoping an investor will buy it.
Is it a nice house? It's got a very small backyard behind the garage.
No, the backyard is actually pretty big. The garage is on the Conkey Avenue side.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. I thought it was the same house that went in.
Yeah, not the St. Paul end, the Conkey end. That's why it's not
Oh.
worth $20,000 more.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I know, a lot of the places we're getting, we'd like to see about getting the tenants out because they're worth more.
Yep.
I had a guy who we talked to today. I told him, he said, can you get the tenant? I goes, no. I can't even offer you half of what you want. I got a house right now that I'm gonna go look at. It's on Oneida Street, which is right around the corner from one we sold for $141,000. And it's got a tenant in it. The guy wants $60,000 for it. And I'm like, can you get the tenant out? Because I'll pay him $60,000. I don't care if it needs 30. It's worth 140, no problem. No problem at all. Ours appraised at 147, and ours is smaller than that one. And ours didn't even have a garage. So, I'm trying to see, a lot of these places, I want to see if I can get them without the tenant. With the tenant, I'm going to be somewhere around 35,000, 40,000 bucks, even though it is worth 50 to 60,000, but the tenant only pays $800. It should be around 1,100 bucks there a month. So
there's a couple up in the chat box too. So I don't know if it was Joe or if it was D who put this one in there because they're both on the Freedom First account. It says property coming up in March, possibly 19 Heidelberg Street, 2-bed, 1-bath off North Goodman. Owner doesn't want to be a landlord anymore. Has tenants, might need a roof. There's a phone number there. And then Marlene just threw one up there saying a 4-bed, 1.5-bath in Walworth, turnkey, ready to go.
Oh, I like Walworth. I want to do some flips over there. But now that one on Heidelberg, do you know, does she say what they're asking? Because Heidelberg's right behind the car wash there, right behind Goodman Plaza. Yeah, it's a rough area, but we've all done
dead
stuff
end street in more than one way.
Yeah.
There's a phone number in the chat box, Joe. 585-472-6259 is the number to call. I'm just thinking that's probably the owner landlord's number.
Everybody's going to be calling them. Now
all right, everybody call. There you go.
Everybody stay on this call. I'll be right back.
Nice. Is it too late to call? It's almost 8.
Guard the meeting.
Well, how about this? I don't know if everybody wants to, but let's see Joe do a live call. Joe, if you're up for it, we'll see if Joe can make the call.
Oh yeah. I'll give you 30 cents on a dollar. My name's Joe LaBarbera.
I pay for that magic show.
Oh God, you guys are so funny. I don't know about that. Oh man.
Your head was too high. I'll give you 22 cents on the dollar. My name's Joe LaBarbera.
I wish Pat Gallagher was on this call right now.
Oh yeah, Pat. Oh yeah, I know. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean,
Come on, Joe,
Heidelberg's an
do it.
okay area. It's not the greatest area, but we will all do stuff that you can make money. And but I mean, Carl, I'm sure Carl's been there many times himself too.
Yeah.
But has anybody been buying properties and offering to get the tenants out just so that way you can flip them? Anybody been doing that at all?
I've sold a couple. If the price is right and the landlords are just done, spent, the buyers can get a really good deal. You know, if they're willing to take on the properties. And, you know, I've told some of my landlords, do cash for keys, get the tenant out and I can get you a lot more money, but they are just so tired and just drawn, you know, and they're like, just take the house. So I've had a couple buyers pick up houses pretty cheap and, you know, give a handful of cash to the tenant and they're out.
I was gonna say, so when they're buying it, they're doing cash for, so the buyers and doing cash for keys to get them out.
Yeah, I had one who bought a house that they could not remove the tenant, so they are in eviction. The tenant was just like, nope, not going anywhere. No matter how much money he threw at him, the tenant was not. Tenant been there almost 3 years without paying rent. He was in eviction before the eviction moratorium even started. So this guy just had a free ride for 3 years. He doesn't have anything to lose by staying there another 6 months while the new guy tries to get him out. So
Can you share what it's taking approximately for, I guess, as far as cash for keys? Is a couple months rent, like a year's worth of rent? Like what's it taking?
It depends on every situation. Like I had one landlord, the tenant owed $8,000. He gave him $2,500 to move. So he said, still, you know, like I think the rent was like around $1,000 a month. So he said, I'm still a few months ahead as far as I'm concerned, because if they'd stayed, we would have been behind anyways. I am so sorry about this cat. Every single time I get on call, she thinks I'm talking to her.
I was going to ask you, where's your
quiet.
cat?
Pain in the neck,
So-
right
So
there.
Joe,
It balances right on that chair.
I'm gonna
Perfect.
change my name to Colleen and Heidi.
That's so funny, Colleen. My cat does the same exact thing. Every time I'm on a Zoom, he sits right on my desk chair.
Oh, the whole time I'm just batting her away. But anyhow, I had another guy who was only like $4,000 or $5,000 behind, and he got them out with more than 2,500. I can't remember how much he said. It was like 3,000, 3,400, 3,500, something like that. So it differs. It varies on the situation of the tenant and whether or not, you know, they have a place to go. I'm also working with a buyer who offered to the tenant of the house that he was buying, if that tenant went and found another apartment, you know, he'd help pay for their first month's rent and security deposit. And they were like, okay, but when they were applying, the landlords were turning them down because they were in eviction. They hadn't paid rent. So this buyer took a little bit of a different spin on things. And it cost him some money, but it was worth it to him to do it. He gave the new landlord 6 months rent up front. So they would take this tenant in their house and hopefully forge a relationship and make them pay after the 6 months were up. So, I mean, you just have to kind of be creative with who you're working with, who's on the other side. You know, it's just being creative.
Does any of this eviction stuff have to do with like the whole COVID thing, or is this just typical run of the mill stuff?
A little
you're
of
dealing with?
both. So
Yeah.
some of it was June of 2019. They passed a bunch of laws. They basically copied all of New York City's renter protection laws across the state, and that created a bunch of issues. And then COVID, the tenant unions and some of the more active tenant groups out there basically told everybody they didn't have to pay rent, and a lot of people believed it, despite the fact that they signed their name to a lease. And a lot of landlords, because of the requirements put on the money that was available through the government, a lot of tenants didn't qualify and a lot of landlords didn't qualify. So there's a whole lot of landlords who are down 12, 16, 18, 24 months of rent so far. And they have zero opportunity to recapture that. So in a lot of cases. So there's a lot of people selling just to get out of it. And there will be more as time goes on, and some of them are sticking through it, and it's just, there's always opportunities for somebody, and that's, you know, being in the right place at the right time is a lot of it.
Yeah. Now to Colleen's point, Colleen, you know how your guy is, you know, obviously you can pay them. I helped one guy get a 2-family. The tenants absolutely hated the landlord's ever-living guts. Hated his ever-living guts. The guy wanted to get rid of it. It was occupied. The family was living upstairs and downstairs. And so what we've done this a few times, actually. We actually went over there without the landlord, And because if the landlord went over there, it just wouldn't have been good. And we talked to them. We actually talked to them like human beings, and they weren't paying the rent because the guy wasn't fixing anything up, which was extremely apparent because the place was just an utter disaster. And one of the things that they liked was that we were actually talking to them, we were actually listening, and we told them that we were going to address their concerns. Now, this guy couldn't do anything with the house. Up and running 2-family. I got it under contract for him for $12,500. Okay. Needed work. But these people now, because we went over there and talked to them, nicest people in the world. They were we told, I was there with the guy that was buying it. And because he number one, it was off in the city, but he's not the best negotiator. So he goes, "Can you help me?" I said, "No problem." So I went over, I said, "Listen, if we take this over, even though it was him," I said, "day one, you're going to see instantaneously things happening." And as soon as it closed, all we did, we said, "Listen, when we get closer to closing, we're going to let you know what's going on. We're going to be respectful." And they were like, "That's all we want. That's what we want." And they are the nicest people in the world. And I asked him, "How's it going?" He goes, "Oh my God, they almost want to hug me." He goes, "I don't want them to hug me, but they want to hug me." So day one, when he closed, I think he closed it like around 12 or 1 o'clock. At 2:30 that afternoon, the exterminator was there. And then what happened was that right before they closed, he went over there and said, "This is my guy. This is my guy right here. Give me a list. Let me see what you got to do." And that worked out absolutely fantastic for him. He is, I was like, I said, "Oh my God, let's see how this works out." And because it was just an utter disaster. So that is another way that's been working. And I just helped him do it on a 3-family on Lyle Avenue, which he was able to get for getting under contract for $30,000, which over there you're going to be, it's a 3-bedroom and 2 bedrooms there. 2 units are occupied, one's not paying, the other one is, and one's vacant, and just an utter disaster. But we went and had the same conversation with the lady upstairs, and now I got to see what he's going to do with the guy downstairs. It's going to be interesting. So that is another way to deal with some of these tenants, because all they want to do is actually want to be heard. We're working on one right now where they haven't paid the landlord, haven't closed yet. I went over there. It's the biggest pain in the neck I've had to deal with for the last week. But 2 of the tenants out of the 4 were calling me, "Hey, can I pay you?" I go, "I don't own it yet." They go, "I don't want to pay the current landlord. Tell me when you buy it because I'll pay you." So has anybody else tried that at all?
Well, Joe, another strategy, and you and I spoke about this, Colleen, is, and I've been using this for decades and it works. It's called a pick and choose offer, right? About the non-paying tenant, right? "Mr. Owner, I'll pay you 40 grand for the property, but the tenant's got to be gone." Or you have the choice of, I'll buy it for 32 or 30, whatever. I'll take the problem tenant. You'd be amazed, and of course it's got to be sweet for you, right? But you'd be amazed at how many times they go for the 30 grand thing. "I'll take the problem on." So it's a technique that works very well, especially with motivated sellers, and I've been using it for decades. It works great.
Yeah, that's actually fantastic, Carl.
Yeah.
And by the way, that 2-family, when he's done with it, it'll be worth somewhere around $59,900 to $65,000. He's probably going to put, I don't know, if he puts 15 into it, I'll be shocked. And the 3-family, he'll be somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000. And that's got to be worth around 80 to 90 all day long when he's done with it. Anyone, by the way, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, please. And if you want to go over some stuff, please don't be afraid to to interject. I don't want to just be talking all night long here.
Joe, I got a question.
Go ahead, Edie.
On a 1031 exchange, I don't know who else is familiar with them, but can they, when they do a 1031 exchange, can they do part of the money? Like, let's say you sell it for 325,000. The person wants to keep 100,000 to pay off all their debt, but do the 1031 with 200,000. Do they let them split it up like that? Or you have to do the whole 325,000 that you make on the property into an exchange?
Does anyone know that?
I'm not sure, but I can put in the chat box a guy out of Buffalo who's a 1031 expert. And you also could Google him, and on his website, he has a lot of good information. He was really helpful when I was looking to do a 1031. I wanted 1031 some money I had with a partner, and the partner needed the cash, and I wanted to roll it into a 1031. What happened was, because we sold the property, I would have to put in his part of it too. So I had to do the whole transaction. I opted not to. Your case might be a little bit different, but his name is Russ Golo. I'll put his information in the chat box.
Oh, I
Steve
know who
Peterson
Russ is.
recommends him too.
Yeah, I was gonna call him to ask him, but I didn't know if anybody on this group knew about it. But I know Russ really well.
Does anybody know the answer to Edie's question? I don't want to, if you know the answer, go ahead. Okay, now another thing too, Edie, to look at is a thing called opportunity zones. With the opportunity zone, you can take part of your capital or capital gains and roll it into an opportunity zone. The catch with opportunity zone is, let's say if you buy a property for 30, you have to match it with like updating it and put, let's say, another 30 into it. So you're into it for 60. The good thing with the opportunity zone is your capital gains get deferred, but also if you hold the property for 10 years, all your capital gains that you use to invest it, and also the capital gains you make on this opportunity zone, are all tax-free. So Google opportunity zone. I don't want to go into it in great detail. It's quite a thing, but to me, it's like a 1031 on steroids. Like I said, the good thing is you don't have to roll all your capital gains that you made from another property into opportunity zone, but you have to find properties that are in opportunity zone, which in Rochester is quite a few. And actually in Webster, there's some locations, some pockets where it's you can do opportunity zone. All that is to really build up and promote the community. So I don't know if you're out Walworth area. I think that might be a lot of opportunity zone properties out there. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm in Orleans County, so I know what you're talking about.
Same thing.
I think Orleans County has it too. Yeah.
I'm really sure they do too, but yeah. There's some good videos on YouTube on opportunity zones and such. I know a little bit about it. I'm investing in one now in North Carolina, but it's through a group of us are investing into it. So yeah. I couldn't believe when they told me that your capital gains are tax-free, but you have to hold the property for 10 years. Then when you sell that property, all those capital gains are tax-free too. So it's really, to me, it's really good. It's not just deferring it like a 1031, it's tax-free. So.
And Scott, there should be maps for each county that you can go on your county website or take a look. It'll show you where the opportunity zone is. Just put in the address and it'll tell you instantly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or any deal you want to bring up or anything to look at? Go ahead.
Actually, I got a question, actually, kind of curious. with respect to the shortage of the MLS in Monroe County, and if you guys heard that, is this going on all around the United States? And if that's the case, or if it's not going on anywhere else in the United States, does that provide you guys in the local Rochester area to expand your outreach and go outside New York State to perhaps look for flipping, wholesaling, whatever it is, to other of those opportunities? I'm just curious. That makes sense.
Who can answer that, or who's doing stuff?
Gabe, my screen froze. I'm going to ask you to repeat that question because of my internet connection.
Yep. The question I had was, I'm just with respect to the shortage of the MLS in the Monroe County area, and of course all the issues in New York State with not eviction, but just shortages in general, because the market's so hot right now in New York State. And of course, we're talking about how it's presenting challenges for whether you're a real estate agent or an investor in New York State. I'm wondering if it's the same, if there's an issue outside New York State, and if there's not an issue, or if there's no challenge, are other real estate investors within New York State going outside of the reach outside New York State to find opportunities to kind of counteract or counterbalance the issues presented?
Well, I guess, Gabe, you asked a question that has gotten me to be online to address it. So for the folks that do not know me, I'm Leon Griggs, and I'm president of Freedom First Real Estate Investment Association. One of the things that we do is we take a look at, and I'm assuming everybody can hear me, take a look at what are the things that we should be doing? What are the major areas that we should be addressing? One of the things that came out, Gabe, was the fact that from a real estate investing standpoint, New York State has become very challenging. So to that end, one of the major projects that we have is to allow Freedom First members to do investing outside of New York State in a way that will provide them information, knowledge, and a return that they could not get within the New York State arena. So that's a part of what we're looking at. Clearly, when you look at all the challenges that New York State is presenting in so many different arenas, particularly a lot of people had a lot of discussions associated with the landlording and housing provider arena, but it's still there when you look at some of the things we need to do from a rehab, buy and hold, any type of investing in the area associated with the alternative real estate area, beyond the things associated with just being landlord in New York State. So yeah, we're looking at doing some of those things in that area. Probably within the next 3-4 months, we'll come out with some information around how we would suggest that people could invest in places outside of New York State, as far south as Florida, for example. Hopefully that addresses your question.
Yeah, thank you, Leon. Thank you, appreciate it.
And I'll say it's not just a New York thing for the market being jacked up. I mean, there's big companies buying up mortgages, doing notes, buying up rentals, buying up apartment complexes, doing build to rent. And they're doing it in secondary and tertiary markets now because primary markets are slammed. Primary markets being top 40 metros in the US and some other big cities. So you've got big investors and big builders and big players out there. And we're talking like nobody in this room. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars of real estate under contract. And they're looking at secondary and tertiary markets and have been for the last 2 years because there's not enough money in it and it's too hard. So they're moving out to the suburbs and to more rural metros. Rural metros like Rochester, for example, would be considered a rural metro compared to New York City or Chicago, with only 1 million people in the 7-county area, right? That's we're not a real player in the game. I don't know what to tell you, but nationwide, there's a lot of those guys that are now snapping up land to develop multifamily housing, develop single family to some extent, but a lot of it is being built for rent. Build for rent has skyrocketed for the last 2 to 3 years. And just looking at the numbers, there's no end in sight. So.
And I'll say with traveling cross country, actually when I was at that Arizona REIA meeting last night, they were talking about Phoenix and Tucson and how they're growing like crazy. And the same thing there is happening with the MLS that Joe had mentioned in Rochester. The supply, the average rents, let's see, 4 years ago were $1,100. Now they're the average rent is $1,400 a month on a single house, and the prices have increased 16% per year for the last 14 years in that market. And the inventory is 10% of what it was. They were talking from 8 years ago. The inventory is just so tight right now in these markets. So, yeah, I keep thinking, the shoe's got to drop, the bubble's got to burst. Who knows if it's going to? I thought that it would, but I don't know right now myself. So, because all across the country, it's doing that. So, one thing I did hear, Gabe, and I meant to share this with you earlier, was somebody was talking about right now self-storage is on such a tear, and so many people are putting stuff into self-storage because the government has given all these handouts and stuff. People are just buying things. It's what the government wanted to have happen. Boost the economy, keep it going. But so people are just going out and buying stuff, and then they're buying storage units and they're putting into storage units. So will that change? I don't know. Somebody quoted AJ Osborne, if you know who he is in self-storage. He's a pretty reputable guy, and he was saying that's a real thing that he's thinking about in self-storage. Is that the factor for why so many self-storage facilities are full now?
Well, Scott, to Andy's point, where they're saying that they're across the United States to where they're doing the big town are going to tertiary markets and secondary markets, build to rent. That kind of, for me and you guys like me and you in the storage game, that kind of shifts things a little bit too, because if we have more build to rent places on being built, that's going to cause more storage facilities to be built, and maybe even tougher to buy because they see that there's more value in the facility as well, perhaps in the coming years. So that might present a challenge for us too.
On the topic of kind of the bubble and just the crazy market, I know no one has a crystal ball, but what are the latest reports as far as like how long this will go on? Last I saw was kind of Q3 projection, but any thoughts or insights or details you guys are aware of?
It's a really good question. I have a bunch of different answers, and I've been wrestling with this because I actually have to give a talk to a bank that's based out of Switzerland, but I give a quarterly talk to their investors in Sydney, Australia, about some companies that are based out of Australia, New Zealand, and China that they watch very closely, and the U.S. real estate market. And I'm looking at it, and it is a little bit of crystal ball right now because we're seeing an average inflation rate of 7.5% as of last report, but average inflation rate of 7.5% means that they just dropped off a month when we had no inflation last year at this time. So that means our real inflation rate's closer to 10 or 12%. And you're going to see that 7.5% climb up when they knock off February of 2021 off that chart. And you're going to see it climb again when they knock off March, because there was no inflation in February and March of last year. It didn't exist. So the Fed could put a full point on within the next month. That's going to scare people. It's going to shock the market. You're going to see stocks correct. You're going to see Bitcoin and crypto correct. You're going to see a bunch of stuff move. Will it be long term? No idea. Good question. And they're going to do whatever they need to do to prop up the markets artificially if they have to by printing money to keep a collapse from happening. So inflation could get worse. They may dial back that point if it shocks too hard. It might be a half a point or 3/4 of a point by the time the dust settles. Who knows? But they're talking about at least 3 adjustments this year before December 31st. Either way, that's going to be ugly and it's going to have a lot of impact in the market. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money in stocks. There's going to be a lot of profit taking. The smart people are going to be cashing out. They're going to wait for a high and they're going to cash out, and they're going to wait for a low and they're going to buy again. And you're going to see that happen 2 or 3 times. It's a lot of moving parts. As far as the real estate market, real estate and construction always follows the interest rates. So as the interest rates climb, you're going to see people get a little less optimistic. Once they start having to pay over 4% for their investment money to borrow, they're going to rethink how they're borrowing. Anything below 4% has always been traditionally looked at as free money. So you get to 7, 8, 9%, people are going to look long and hard at their profit margins, because at the end of the day, all those big companies that are snatching up all this real estate, they're all publicly traded. They all have shareholders that they need to pay. So it's going to be, pardon my French, it's going to be a shit show for the next 2 or 3 years. And it really is a crystal ball at this point. And they're going to blame everything and everyone for all the problems. But the reality is we're paying a 20-year bill right now, and it's going to get bad. So.
Good info. Thank you.
Bottom line, buy right. Andy, you said it, man. Like, Andy, you're like a wealth of information that comes in numbers and everything else, which is I didn't even think about that, how there was no inflation back in February because it was 0. And once they take February and March off, you are right, it is going to go up. And no matter what, don't be caught holding many hot potatoes, not even one hot potato. Patience and patience and patience. Because everyone's like, oh, this is going great, it's going great. And I don't want to be left holding the bag. I know one guy right now, he's got 16, 17 flips going on right now at once in Rochester. At once. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I just can't imagine him doing that all the way through. And if something happens, like Andy just said, if it goes up a full point, something. Right now the market is just, you only got 200 something houses, 262 houses on the MLS. You'll be okay. But on some of them, I know, he paid a little bit more, and and he's hoping on the market. Me, I'd rather be doing 6 or 7 flips versus 16, knowing that I'm 100% secure. 16 flips, because I know some of the numbers on some of the ones that he did buy, and I just don't want to take that chance, And then to Gabe's question, like for most people, and I want to ask this to Scott, the people who are going out of state, you don't see them buying small stuff. You don't see them going after a single family house. You see them going after bigger stuff, or am I wrong?
You mean as far as investors, Joe?
Yeah. No, you don't see guys going after a single family house 800 miles away.
No, not by any means. They're investing in syndicates. They're buying bigger units. A lot of people are picking up on Airbnbs. I know a guy right now, he has one in Baltimore, Maryland, Florida, and South Carolina. He's looking to pick up another one in Arizona because that's where he likes to travel and that's where his families are at. It's a really good idea, I think. But I see a lot of people going into the Airbnb market. But yeah, anybody Well, I know people buying over in Ohio. I don't, from what I understand, the Cleveland, Ohio market is very similar to the Rochester market. And they've seen appreciation there, but I don't think they've seen the appreciation we've seen in Rochester. So I know some investors that are investing over in the Ohio area. So, yeah.
Uh,
So,
less,
and they are buying single family homes, but they're buying they're buying like one every other month or something like that.
mhm.
Well, mhm.
They're making it worthwhile. What's crazy is that the people here in New York State, which is kind of funny, we're thinking, okay, we want to invest outside of New York State, and the people on the other side of the fence in other states, they want to invest here in Rochester, and they think, they think the grass is greener on the other side, but no matter what side you're on, you still have to mow the lawn, as they say. So, there's no shortage of people coming into New York State, especially Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, and New York City is just a whole different other animal. I don't even consider New York City because it's so tough to make money over there. But who else is anybody else here even thinking about going other states? I know Joe McGuire, do you even buy notes in New York, or you just outside of New York State, Joe?
Yeah, pretty much all outside of New York.
You're outside.
Yeah.
Everybody else is coming in and Joe's going out.
Yeah. Well, I learned back in the dark ages that a first class stamp takes a check across the country, across town.
So true. Well, not for nothing, but you're looking at investing out of state. I hear both sides of the argument, right? We have a lot of members here who are holding on to their stuff. Cap rates are good. You can still get 9 to 12 cap rate. That's tough to find anywhere else, partially because the market's so inflated. When the dust settles after this whole storm happens and people get to see what's really going on, across the country, as the real estate market kind of resets and comes back to reality and money is worth whatever it's going to be worth, and we get to see a little bit more clearly into that crystal ball, you're going to see, are they really going to be able to pull down what they're pulling down for rents in all these metro markets? Like, everybody's complaining that the rents have skyrocketed 12, 16, 20%, year over year. 13%, I think, is the number that they've settled on nationwide in year over year rent increases. But by the same token, I don't know how much of it is real, because most of those numbers are not tracked. Most companies don't report. We know in this group alone, there's, upwards of maybe 20, 30,000 doors represented, and almost nobody on here reports what they're charging for rent. So how accurate are those numbers? I don't think we're going to see it until the dust settles. I really don't. But cap rates being what they are here, I think you're still looking at a strong market, even if housing values skyrocket, because they never have. We were stagnant for the last reset in 2008. Didn't lose value, but didn't gain any either. So
Rochester has always been a good cap rate market. It's no question about it. And I'm all for it. People that want to do it, Rochester is a good cap rate market. But as far as the rent increases, everything I've heard from different people is that, it's anecdotal. There's no one, you're right, there's no central repository. But anecdotally, everyone is saying that rents are significantly higher than they were before. But like anything, the rents will hold if wages can support it. The value of real estate depends on the economy and the wages. So if people, landlords aren't about, or I'm sorry, housing providers are not about to lower the rent just because they want to. If they can, if the market will pay it, they'll collect it. All comes, can the market pay it? And will the market pay it?
All right. Hopefully that answered a bunch of questions. I was sitting here thinking, I do have another need, and if anybody has another need, they can bring it up too. On the storage facilities, right now, I'm looking for money lenders. Depending on the deal, I'm paying between 8 and 10% interest. I'll pay monthly interest payments to you. And it's invested in self-storage. I'm involved in the projects. We're looking, I'll guarantee the money for 6 months. You know, we're going to get in, stabilize these properties and sell them. And we might sell them in 4 months. We don't know. We'll guarantee the interest rate for 6 months worth of interest. And we're borrowing the money for up to 2 years is what we're asking for. So if anybody has any money you want to lend, give me a shout or ping me or whatever. That's what we're doing right now. We're looking for some money. So
God, are these if I hear you right, the storage units for flipping or buy and hold?
they're for flipping right at the moment. We may flip them. We may figure out after time that we might take them and refi them and hold them. So that's why I'm guaranteeing 6 months worth of interest.
Right. So the money is for either category, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm in, bud.
Yep. And Carl, yes, you're on my list. I have a few people I have to call, and Carl, you're on my list. So for sure. But let's see here. Hold on one second. Does anybody else have any other questions? New people. I'm going to challenge the new people. Who's new on here? Stephanie, I think you're new. And the other guy, he had to drop off. I did see that. So Stephanie, what questions do you have for the group? You got a bunch of people who think they're experts on here. Okay, me included. What questions do you have? We want to hear from new people what you got going on. I have to answer the phone quick. My daughter's calling.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't unmute myself. So my biggest thing is like with ideas that I have and directions that I want to go in, finding people that have done it and are willing to explain the process and, you know, kind of walk you through the process a little bit more, because I can read all day online, but that doesn't do shit for me. I need to speak to somebody that's got experience in doing things like the Airbnbs and, you know, granted, I do have a single family in Rochester and I'd like to continue that because I have enjoyed it and it's been profitable, you know, but I want to take the next step with that as well. So my whole thing is, you know, if there's a list of people that want to more or less mentor somebody like myself and get into more of that process, where do I start with that?
I have a quick answer. We actually have a member. His name is Jim McDuff. He owns Flower City Real Property. He actually does coaching for short-term rentals and Airbnb. So that's actually his business model. He does that. He's been a member on and off of FFREIA for a few years. He's back in now. He's not a vendor member, so I'm not advertising for him, but he is absent from this call, but he does do that full-time. He lives in Fairport. There's on Facebook, there is an Airbnb investors group that a lot of locals here in Rochester are a part of, and I cannot remember the exact name. But if you find me on the FFREIA Facebook page, I will send you a link to it because there's, I think, like 5,000 members of that group nationwide, and people are constantly asking questions and stuff on there. So
LinkedIn or Instagram?
That one is, I think, Facebook only. It probably carries over into Instagram, but it's more of I'm posting a question. So it's not so much, here's my pretty picture. It's I have a question about how to operate this property or the situation, and they'll get like 75 answers.
So you're telling me I have to get a Facebook account?
Probably a good idea. If you have Instagram, you already have Facebook, by the way. You don't need a separate account. It logs you into Facebook, whether you want it to or not.
I just don't have Facebook is all.
Got it. Got it.
It's okay. I'm looking for somebody to teach me Facebook.
Yeah, I don't do that. I
I've
hate
never
it. I
been on
avoid it. It's a business application only for me. I despise it. Anyway.
I don't understand it.
Stephanie, are you looking to do Airbnb just in Rochester or outside the area?
Preferably outside the area. If I stay in Rochester for a more rental type, I would probably look into more like duplexes and single family, but for as far as Airbnb, I'm looking into more like the vacation spots.
Like outside the state, you mean? I mean, I'm asking, is it within New York State or is it outside of New York State?
Preferably outside New York State, just for tax purposes. But if somebody knows something where that I don't know and there's a hotbed in New York State somewhere, I mean, I'm willing to look into it.
Old Forge and Saratoga. Just saying. Once the
Okay.
raceways reopen in September of this year, Saratoga is hot. People pay their mortgages for like 2 years straight just off of renting the house out during race season. It's nuts.
Does
And
anybody
Old
have-
Forge is pretty similar.
Outside of like rentals for people coming to stay somewhere, does anybody have rentals for, say, speaking of Old Forge, snowmobile rentals, like that type, or four-wheeling rental for the trail riders?
They exist. I used to stay in one. We used to, before Airbnb, we used to rent a house for a week at a time, house on the hill, right in between Stillwater and Old Forge, and we'd go down and run Stillwater and take the trail right up to wherever we wanted to go. We'd ride
Did that
for
include
8
like a
hours.
rental for a snowmobile or no?
No, usually those are at the inn. So there's like Flat
Okay.
Rock, and there's actual like in restaurant bars that rent sleds and stuff. And I think when you look at it, the liability insurance and stuff is outrageous. So I don't know if I would get into that craziness, because you're on the hook to repair those things and keep them up, and drunk people smashing them up and all that fun stuff. So generally all the Airbnb people doing vacation stuff. I have some friends who've got property on Third Lake. They pay their mortgage for the property with the rentals all summer long. They go up there, they ice fish in the winter, and they use it for a couple of weekends. They take the keys and lock up all the boats. They have boats, they have jet skis, they have party boats. They don't let anybody use them. It's all about liability.
Hope that helps, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna definitely look into Jim McDuff. So
Perfect. Anybody else have anything that they want to go over? Have any questions or anything like that? And we're getting pretty close on time here.
A quick question. I'm looking at, I have the property on Orchard Street, and there's 2 houses on the property, and then I've got another piece on the property that I could build another 3 units. Is there any grants or anything out there, money for low income housing, new housing, building, or anything of that nature? Or not only a grant, but is there, low interest rate money for low income housing that anybody knows of?
Not for singles and duplexes. It's all multifamily. Everything is targeted at six and up. Like literally, it's written into the low income programs that if you've got a building on the property that has 4 units or less, you are automatically disqualified. Doesn't matter if you've got 300 units. If you've got a building that's got less than 4 units in it, you're out. Done. You automatically fail the sniff test.
So Andy, just to interject here for a sec. There are a couple of things that are coming down the road. It hasn't been completely structured, for sake of better words, but we are looking at some things. Had a meeting with Jacob and Carl Weeks. Carl, you're on the call now, but there may be some opportunities there to address some of the questions that's being addressed now, where folks can actually get some monies to help with the areas he's talking about.
Yep.
Carl, you there?
Yep, I'm here. It's very premature right now, but there are some exciting potential opportunities coming up to address Anthony's question, but we're really premature on that right now. So we really can't announce anything at this point.
Yeah,
Is it the first one?
I completely agree, and I just wanted to interject that there are some things that's going on. You know, this group works with a number of different areas to try to come up with things that are really highly of interest for our group, and looking at how we can do things to make things work out better. And this is an area where there's a fair amount of work still being done, as Carl has indicated, and Jacob Thorpe is working on those things. And so you'll hear some more things coming. Hopefully it'll fit with some of the things that you're thinking about trying to do. But it does fit in the slot that you're talking about.
Well, I was looking at possibly building this year. So should I hold for a little bit? And to that end, is it a first come, first served basis? Do we have to have plans in place prior to applying? I mean, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I just wanted to see.
It's okay. We don't actually have any of those answers as far as I'm aware yet.
No,
That's
so
all up in the air.
Anthony, right now, I would reach out to the City Department of Housing and Development and tell them what your plans are, and they will reach out to you. They will let you know what's available to help you with your plan, if there is one. That would be your first stop, which is the city's Housing and Development Department.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything you want to go over? Or I know we're just about ready to wrap up over here. Some of us will stick around here for a few extra minutes if you do have to go, because I know it's 8:30.
8:30 now. What time is it?
Just about 8:30.
Joe, let me give a little plug to next Thursday. Next Thursday is our next landlord support group. It's going to be in person at Da Vinci's. I encourage you to go in person because there's handouts and so on, and it's Zoom. It's a combined thing. So at this meeting, we're going to have Luann Brink from the Housing Council at Patstone, and she's going to go over in detail of a new program, relatively new program. And there's 3 of them that there's funding for 3 areas that we really need funding in. Let me go over what they are. It's called the Vacant Property Reimbursement Repair Program. If you got a vacant property, you got to get it online. There's like $5 grand there for you. The second one is code violation program. So if you have code violations, it's going to hold you up with getting a C of O, whatever. That's up to 15 grand right there. And then there's the eviction prevention program, where you have tenants behind in rent. There's money there. So she's going to go over all these programs available to you to help with the problems we're dealing with out there right now. So pop in Thursday night, next Thursday.
And that's at 7 o'clock, networking at 6:30, Carl?
Yeah. Andy?
Can we bring guests?
You are always allowed to bring guests. They can come to up to 2 meetings at no charge.
And by this is for properties in the city of Rochester only. And the real kicker here is they're targeting small property owners. So it's entities or owners that have 9 units or less. 9 units or less, combined with LLC. So if you're involved with an LLC in 1, 2, or different 3 of them, whatever, it's a total of 9 units, not properties, or less. That's what they're targeting.
Okay. Perfect.
And Edie, to answer your question, like Andy said, you can bring guests, they come up to 2 times for free. If you're a single member, you can add somebody, whether it's a spouse or a business partner or something like that, for it's like, I don't know, $50 more or something like that. I don't remember what the totals are, But you're certainly welcome to do that. And it could be, you know, friend, family member, business partner. And they can come to all the meetings. So with or without you. So, all right.
No, I already got Bernie signed up, so.
Okay.
But I had talked to another guy and he wanted to come to the next live meeting, so I'll probably bring him to that one.
Great. That's one thing I find when I travel cross country is like, if you're coming as a guest, a lot of these REIA meetings, they charge you $20. And I just go in and say, look, I'm just here to visit. I'm only in town for like a month. I just wanted to visit you. I'm part of the national REIA. When I explain that to them, they're pretty cool about it. But yeah, that's another thing we love about this group and the way that Joe and Leon and Susan have set it up is we want guests to come for a couple times and check it out and see if they like it. That's why we don't charge for the first 2 meetings. So, and a meeting could be either a live meeting or a Zoom meeting. They both, you know, so they both count. So, but yeah, it's 8:30. Thanks everybody for joining. We're going to stay on. I can stay on for another 10, 15 minutes. Stephanie, thanks for asking your question. Thanks for coming. If you got more questions, I'm going to hang out. I don't want to speak for Joe, but I'll hang out for another 10, 15 minutes myself. And if anybody got anything they want to talk about. Another thing too, I will say for new investors on here, Carl Weeks is a vendor member too, I believe, right, Andy? He'd be considered a vendor member? Okay.
He is.
Carl Weeks is like that silent ninja. Carl Weeks will work with new investors and show them on properties. And he helped me out a tremendous amount. New investors, he'll walk through a property with you, what he thinks you can get for rents, what you're gonna have to do on it work-wise and all that. It is a coaching that he offers, but it's well worth it. You know, it's an invaluable resource, and Carl doesn't speak enough about that, in my opinion. So I'm gonna tell Carl right now.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much.
Bet.
Appreciate that.
You bet. So, all right, thanks for joining, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go make money, as Joe says, right, Joe?
Go do real estate.
Hunker down for the storm.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, over there.
Yes. So Scott, wait, well, where in Arizona are you, Scott?
Tucson.
Tucson?
Yeah, just a little bit west of Tucson. Pitcher Rock, it's called. The reason it's called Pitcher Rock is when the cowboys are passing through here, there's some rocks with petroglyphs on them. And they'd always explain to somebody, you go through and you go by Pitcher Rock, and that's where I'm at. So it's a pretty cool place.
It looks like you got decent signal. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Yep. The Sprint hotspot's working pretty well. I got a Sprint hotspot, and then I got my phone, my Verizon phone becomes a hotspot too.
Nice.
Where are you going next?
What day is today? Let's see. Tomorrow we're going to Phoenix, actually. We're going to Phoenix tomorrow. We're going to go up there for the weekend. I got some friends up there to visit, and Chris and I are gonna, she doesn't know yet, but we're gonna rent. There's a place where you can rent the, call them rails or whatever. They're like ATVs, but you sit in, they're like dune buggies. We're gonna do that. Remember, Joe, you didn't go, Joe, but
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about though.
There you go. Yeah. So we're gonna go out in the desert and.
Oh, was that from the Sin Summit, so Storage Investor Nation Summit last year that Joe went to and then didn't go out with everybody?
Yep. Yeah, that's the one.
Didn't invite me. No.
But March, we're heading out to San Diego, Joe. We have our son hooked us up. He's in the Marines. The Marines have a big base in San Diego, and part of the Marine base, they have a campground that's right on the beach. So you're right on the coast, and we're going to be able back the RV. We're going to be right on the beach, man. It'll be awesome. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All from real estate.
Yep. All from real estate, and March and April we'll be out there. So, and yep. Okay, good. All right.
You want us to mail you a snowball in case you miss it?
Yeah. Could you mail me one? So.
Well, we're supposed to get them overnight tonight.
Right now. Joe, go outside and make me a snow angel right now.
Yeah, actually, it's all water.
I was gonna say it's been 50 degrees and raining for 2 days. There's almost no snow left. I had like 2 feet in my yard. Now I've got like 3 inches, and it's hard as a rock.
Oh man.
My brother in Orleans County, he sent me a thing. I guess it's supposed to be big melt today, floods, and then snow's coming in like 7 inches. but worse than that's going to be ice and 40-mile-an-hour winds. So he's a little worried. Joe, you've been to his place. You know how many trees he has. He's a little concerned.
I know. It's beautiful. Oh my God, it's like a resort.
That's awesome.
Oh.
What else? Allison, you're pretty quiet tonight. You got anything you want to ask or add or anything?
I'm just listening and learning. It's kind of my method of learning. We're actually we got pre-approved. We refinanced on our property here, our home. So we got pulled a bunch of money out of it, and we also got pre-qualified for a mortgage by GRB. So I have a realtor in Syracuse, and then Colleen, actually I guess now Nicole, in Rochester. So I've just been kind of watching both markets, trying to see, because we're gonna start making offers as soon as something looks good. So again, it does look like the Syracuse market is there are more things available for the right price there right now. So I'm just kind of waiting for the realtor to send me. He's supposed to go in and take a look at some stuff, and then so I might end up moving on Syracuse first, because I have to buy one and then use the rent rolls to qualify for another one. So that's kind of what we're doing. But we're actually coming to visit in a couple weeks. So March 4th, we're flying to New York City, see some family there, then take the train. Always my favorite. I've done a lot of Amtrak travel. When I was a graduate student, I traveled around the country on Amtrak. But so yeah, then go up to Syracuse, Rochester, and hopefully try to set some things up. I don't have a lot of my network set up in Rochester in terms of managing the property and getting rehab done. I'm going to end up kind of doing sort of a hybrid managing mostly myself, which I was not planning to do, but I was kind of forced into it through Syracuse. And so I'm going to, make it work. But I do have a strong network in Syracuse, because I still have lots of childhood friends who live there, and are actually, a number of them, I did not realize this, are involved with real estate. So like my realtor is married to one of my childhood friends, and evidently they own a good section of Syracuse. And they do, so I'm pretty much set there, but I haven't set it up as much in Rochester yet. So hopefully I'll be able to do some of that when we come out in a couple of weeks. But
Nice. I grew up in Syracuse. I do not miss it. That's all I'm saying. I grew up in Manlius and Fayetteville and Chittenango.
Okay.
But yeah. Do you know the Deshaws?
I don't think so. I went to Faith Heritage. So even though I grew up in Cato, I came into Syracuse every day just to go to school. So the Skinners are Stephen Skinner is my realtor, and his wife Katrina was my friend. So
that's cool.
Growing up. So so I've been able to contact a lot of just childhood friends and say, oh, can I pay you to help me show, rentals, or talk to people, or check on things if I need someone. So that's great.
I was an IC CBA Lemoyne brat, so I stayed there until I moved for work. So, and then I never looked back. Hey, there's sun here. Okay. I live by the lake. I get sun. I know most of Rochester doesn't see that, but when you live in Syracuse, the year I moved out of Syracuse was 2003. And they beat Seattle as the cloudiest city in the country that year. And I said, you know what? I'm never going back. Never going back.
Yeah, right now is the most beautiful time to live in California. But during the summertime, I hate it, because it's 116. It's gotten to be 116. And it's just brutal. I mean, it's smoky. You can't go outside. It basically feels like winter in that you're stuck inside with all the windows closed. And any time you spend outside has to be brief. But it's nice that it's always sunny. So you never get that dreariness.
Are you guys looking to buy real estate here and then move here, or just you're gonna stay in California?
We're gonna stay in California. My husband has a very specific job. He's a professor of music. So those jobs are not, it's not easy to change because most universities for a long time now have been moving more and more towards removing tenured positions, and everything is adjunct. So if you're an adjunct, you live below the poverty line. So we're not interested in kind of messing with that at all. He can walk to work from where we live. So you can't really beat that. And now our business model, basically, I mean, I guess we could always rent this place out and move someplace, but we just pulled a whole bunch of money out. So it worked out well that when he bought this place, it was worth a small percentage of what it's worth now. So that's kind of given us the opportunity to be able to get into real estate. But
that's awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
But I definitely understand about people wanting to about the grass being greener, because when I look at when I look at different markets, or when I look at Syracuse and Rochester, the numbers, look really good. Or you think about, okay, sure, New York is hard, but I don't know. Also living in California, things are, I mean, New York is definitely more difficult regulations wise than California is, but still, I mean, the home values here are so high, it's ridiculous. I mean,
well, the cap rates pay for the headaches, I think, in a lot of ways for New York, versus you get a bad couple of years in a place where you're getting a 2% cap rate, like, Raleigh. What do you do?
Right. Or here, I mean, we live in a small townhouse style condo in a very rundown HOA. I think we're one of the oldest HOAs in the country. And so, leaky roofs, 60-year-old roofs. Like our roof is 60 years old. A year ago, the drug dealers that lived behind me in the condo, they moved out. That's great. And there are two very, very dangerous gang members. I almost towed their car yesterday. I'm really glad they moved it, so I didn't have to tow it, because I had to walk by them. I was just thinking, please don't stab me. But they're supposedly moving. They live just like right over there. Our place is worth $500,000, and this is what you get for $500,000. But 12 years ago, it was 190. So, I mean, you think about those risks. I mean, you could potentially put in all that money at 500,000, and then in 10 years, is it going to be 500,000? Could it go back to being 190? That's way out of my risk profiles. So, yeah. And plus,
perfect sense.
No one had any imagination when they built here. Like they just put boxes that were poorly made. Whereas you look at what's in Rochester and Syracuse, and the architecture is just amazing. They're just like, you just look at a house and you're like, yeah, I'd love to own that house. I would be proud to own that house. Someone spent a lot of time building that house versus, yeah.
Got it.
Hey, and I like listening to Allison talk, because so many people in Rochester just drive around and like, oh, Rochester's so depressing, the houses here suck, this, that, the other. It's like, they don't, they really don't. Rochester has a lot to offer. And in my opinion, if you can't make money in real estate in Rochester, don't go to another market, because you're not going to make money someplace else, in my opinion. It's just really good to hear Allison's perspective on that. And I think more people need to hear that. With Allison, if I could ask a personal question, with the loan that you got on your property, did you get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit?
No, we refinanced.
Okay.
So yeah, we pulled out 200,000.
Okay.
We got a good rate. So I think it was like 3.4, 3.5, something like that.
That's kind of sitting in the bank right now, waiting to invest, right?
It is. It was a very interesting wire transfer. My checking account went from, like suddenly it was like, oh, now we have $200,000 and just got deposited. So
Yeah. Funny story. Our daughter's 27. My wife and I are traveling cross country. I'm getting set up with Bank of America, but I was using Key Bank in Rochester. I love Key Bank. I love the people in the branch and all that. But I can't get them to wire, so I have to send money to my daughter's account, and then she wires it for me. I can call her up and say, "Oh, there's a little bit extra money in your account now. It's not yours. I need you to wire that for me tomorrow." So it's just funny. It's like, so we know what you're going through. In Rochester, are you working with a realtor in Rochester?
yes, I'm so I originally started working with Colleen, but then just a couple days ago, she switched me over to Nicole Goff because I guess they're down a person, or there's Colleen's covering a lot of extra stuff. So but yeah, about banks. So Charles Schwab Bank has been my favorite bank forever. People often think that you have to have a lot of money to use Charles Schwab, but no, I've never owned a lot of money. They've just, I can use any ATM for free anywhere. Just things like that. Like their customer service is amazing. I've never heard anyone talk about a bank, especially Bank of America. I've heard that their customer service is particularly bad. But
Bank of America will never ever get another penny of my money for as long as I live. We went.
I just opened an account there.
No, seriously, Scott. We had it when I bought my house. We did it through Wells Fargo, and we got a home loan, the traditional mortgage, 30-year, and a home equity line to do some rehab on the house when we bought it, because it was a little long in the tooth, being built in 55 and out in the sticks. And when I went to refi to get a lower rate, because this was 2005, so my rate was about like 6.5%, I think, first house. The guy at the other end of the phone at Bank of America said, "You're never going to find anybody who's going to give you a better number than this. And it's going to stay flexible. You'll never get it refied." I called my credit union. I was like, "Hey, can you do this?" Yeah. So 2007, I got it for 4% through my credit union, and I've never looked back. And you have similar to Charles Schwab, you have nationwide access to every credit union in the country. No ATM fees, no bank fees, no late fees, no overdraft charges, no nothing. I have my business account with it. I wire money all the time. I constantly get wires in and out of my bank. No issues, no questions asked. I'm with Reliant, but they're on the same network as ESL. They're in the same network as First Federal out of Syracuse. There's one in Buffalo too, and they're all part of the same network, and just money swapped back and forth. There's never an issue. Like no questions asked. I get what I want. When I bought my car, I bought my caddy, right? The CTS, bought a 17 CTS with 20,000 miles on it. They still considered it a new car in 2018 because it was one model year old. I got it for 2.6.
Wow.
Like it's free money for a used car with 20,000 miles on it. I got 2.6 for 35. I think I paid like 36,000 for it at that point. So
yeah.
Along those lines, just for free money, something I was turned on to. I own my truck free and clear. I actually did a cash out refi that most banks, I didn't know was a thing for cars. I had a cash out refi for 20 grand at like 2.7%. Free money all day long.
In a car?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the market's insane right now. It's because the market's insane.
Cash out
right
refi
now.
in a truck. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go, Joe.
I never knew you could do that.
Joe, I know you pay cash for your vehicle.
Oh my
Go
God.
finance. You might get 2% interest, man. And Brian, I love your statement here. I'm going to stay away from M&T. That's funny. Oh,
I hate M&T too. They screwed me when I was in college. I'm good. I don't need them. They're one of those banks that used to take all the small transactions and put them after the big transactions so they could tack at like 7 or 8 overdraft charges when it should have been 1. Like they're that
That's
bank.
why, yeah. M&T.
Yeah, they're bad. I'll never use M&T for anything.
That's fun.
Like they burned me in college and I'll never go back. I owed like $600 in overdraft fees once. I'd never bounced a check in my life and they wouldn't waive them. I was like, we're done. Goodbye. Yeah. 21 years old. Working a part-time. I was full-time then. I was like, really?
There's a reward for you, Andy.
Allison, recommendation to you. It's completely up to you. I don't want to tell you how to run your business. But make sure you let Colleen's team know that you have cash now to buy a property.
Oh, yeah, they know. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And do you say I have cash for down payment and I have to get bank financing for the rest, or are you just gonna buy these cash and then refinance them?
No, I'm gonna put 25% down and do the financing. So yeah, no, Colleen's team should know, because I wrote her an email saying that I had it, plus she also got the prequel information from Tim Cohn at GRV. So
Okay. Cool.
it should be all good, yeah. But yeah, I've just been kind of looking at some of the stuff. It's, I pretty much, almost everything needs work, and which I'm definitely willing to do it. It's just since it's my first purchase and first setting things up, I'm trying to not do much work or not get in the situation where I don't want to get over my head, kind of thing. So but then also looking at what's available, it might be that I have to, but again, I have the option of first going to Syracuse and then getting that set up and then waiting and seeing if something.
Another option too. I love Colleen. I mean, she did a lot of business for me, but we have a couple other vendor members you should probably reach out to. One being Carl Weeks, because yeah, he does the coaching, but he also manages a lot of properties, and he may know somebody looking to sell something.
Okay.
And he can kind of manage that for you. And then also Pat and Beth Gallagher with Gallagher Property Management. They manage a bunch of properties, and they have properties that they're selling, and a lot of these properties are turnkey, or they can make them turnkey for you and manage them for you. So yeah, I would definitely if you need, I can drop their numbers in the chat box, but give both of them a call.
They're probably listed on the. I'm sure they're probably their numbers. And I've noticed not everyone is listed on the website.
So our vendor members are all listed. Individual members have to opt in. So if they don't check the little box when they go and create their account online or sign into their account online the first time, they don't show up in the list at all. So like, I think there's like 95 people who show up in the list or something stupid like that out of the 200 and whatever active members. And there's literally 1,500 people on the website. And anybody who's not opted in specifically does not show. And it's a pain in the butt. And it's a manual process. So we're getting actually in the process tomorrow. We have a meeting with the marketing people to go through the okay, when somebody gets onboarded, they need to do this on their Home Depot account. And then they need to do this at National REIA. And then they need to do this, and all of them have to match. Otherwise they're going to get audited and they're not going to get their rebate from Home Depot. And there's all this stuff that has to be in there, and it hasn't been updated for 5 years. So we have to get the marketing people to redraw the lines and make it go. So yeah, that's tomorrow though. That's not tonight.
Yeah. I was on the website and I noticed some improvements just from the last time I saw it a couple weeks ago.
It's a work in progress. The website is clunky and it's hard to use because it's a template, but it also does a lot of things on the back end for the management of the organization that you can't get pretty much anywhere else. And it ties directly into National REIA. So there's a bunch of crap they don't have to do because it's tied into National REIA. So it's a trade-off. But given that nobody gets paid, how much time are you going to sink into something that you do for free because you like it, right? So yeah.
I sink in a lot of my time into the HOA. They don't particularly like it, but
understandable.
But I guess I do get paid in home value.
Right.
There you go.
I would like a new roof. I would really like a new roof. That would be good.
Just do your portion of it.
Oh yeah, that'll go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Elsa, if you spend time with Carl or Pat or Beth Gallagher, just tell them what you're looking for. And I mean, they manage everything from neighborhoods I won't drive in to Park Ave, which in Rochester is the premier neighborhood. So they do a lot of they do suburbs too.
Okay. My target market is graduate students, medical students, and young professionals. Basically, markets that well, I rented myself for probably 15 years. So
Mhm.
as a student, graduate student, and young professional. So it's sort of the market that I know. So I feel the most comfortable at kind of anticipating what they need.
Yep.
So, so I've been sort of told the 19th Ward, Beechwood, sort of North Winton, although I guess North Winton is very expensive.
East Ave Park, yeah. Alexander, all those areas. East and Alexander is hot because of the Eastman School of Music is right there, and there's actually nightlife there. It's like one area of Rochester where you can walk around and not worry about getting shot at night. So
yeah.
Is your husband familiar with Eastman School of Music? I'm sure he probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just learned, I think Andy told me on the last call that they are like the #2 music school.
Yeah, they're very, yeah. You have Juilliard, you have Eastman. I mean, there are some others, but yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Neighborhood of the Arts is still up and coming too. If there's an opportunity there, I would snatch it up if you can find it. Good luck. But Neighborhood of the Arts is huge. That's University and to Culver basically, and points back west into the city.
Love that area.
There's good money to be made there still. It hasn't quite caught up. All the stuff hasn't been turnkeyed and upgraded, but there's a few guys who target that area super heavily, Dutton being one of them.
Yeah.
And they go after it when they see it. So
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna jump off. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for joining. Great talking with y'all. Y'all can stay on. I'm just jumping off. Take care.
I gotta go myself. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night, everybody.
You guys take care.
Night.